Now we know that it's a show that has secrets and has lies and has twists and turns.
I think that we're allowed to talk about it.
Well, wait, let's say tune out now. If you don't want to know.
To talk about what's going to happen with Mr. Marsden, I was like, you're joking, girl. No, we're not going to do that.
The sort of perverse element of that for the storytelling was exciting to me.
I think we're always sort of asking and then hopefully answering the question in season 2, can a friendship built on lies, succeed?
I'm going to give away the secret of season 3 and from here on out.
That we'll be shooting like this if we have to.
Yeah. Welcome to Entertainment Weekly's Around the Table at Home, where I don't think any of us are sitting at a table, but that's okay. I'm Liz Feldman, creator and showrunner of Netflix's Dead to Me. That's Christina Applegate.
I see her this way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where is she?
And then
that way.
And then there's Linda Cardellini.
Hi, I'm Linda Cardellini.
There she is.
And then there's James Marsden.
Hey, what's up?
Oh.
I'm James Marsden.
Whoa. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Gun show.
That felt kind of...
I'm kind of gross. Kind of Stevie. Yeah, hi, I'm James Marsden. You can cut all that rest of the stuff out.
No, I think we should keep that in. I think we should definitely keep that in.
It's in. I actually just filmed it and put it on Instagram, so it's done.
Yeah, that's forever now.
The FBI are good at connecting dots, and we are the f***ing dots.
I'm warning you, watch yourself, because I sure as hell am.
Drive safely.
What are we gonna do?
I don't know what to do. I'm freaking the f*** out here.
It's hilarious. Quarantine's hilarious.
You having a great time? You having a great time in quarantine?
Whew, it's hilarious.
We're all going to be alcoholic cooks by the end of this thing.
Yeah, then...
Right? We're all going to be very good at
We
cooking,
should be
cutting
so
our own
lucky.
hair.
We should be
And
so
drunks.
lucky. I cut my own hair for this. But I feel like we're very lucky to be sitting here together.
Yes.
I have to say, I'm happy to see you all. And I'm sending love to everybody out there.
Yes, and I think promoting a show during this felt strange at first to be like, hey, we're going to talk about ourselves and our performances. But actually what it's done is it's made me get to see you guys and see other people. It's really nice, actually.
I saw you at the bar last night.
I don't remember being there.
I felt strange about it, too. And then the other morning at 5 a.m, I got a text, and it was from a friend of ours who's a doctor. And she's really in it, working on the front line of the thing. And she was saying how excited she was about the show. And a friend of mine who's a nurse texted me and they said they were excited about the show. And it made me feel good because I know we're not out there saving lives like other people, but maybe somebody will enjoy watching the show.
It sort of unifies everybody, I guess, in a weird way. It's strange looking at you all on a screen, but I've never spoken to more people in my life than the last few months. I picked up the phone and called people more than I ever have. There's this sort of feeling that we're all holding hands through the whole thing, and hopefully we're doing that this weekend while we watch the show.
And I just can't believe that he's gone.
But he's not.
But he is.
Right? No.
No, he's not.
You need to act like he's not.
Right.
Yeah. Last year when we did the junket, we literally couldn't talk about what the show was about. We had the challenge of going, it's a show about two women who meet at a grief group. And that was literally all we could say. Now we know that it's a show that has secrets and has lies and has twists and turns. And I think everyone's expecting that there's going to be something sort of otherworldly happening without them least expecting it. And I know that when Liz came to me to talk about what's going to happen with Mr. Marsden, I was like, you're joking, girl. No, we're not going to do that. And she's like, will you trust me? And if had that been first season, I would have been no. But because I trust you implicitly, I was like, alrighty, let's go. Let's do that storyline, which I still don't want to, I know. Viscerally don't want to say it because I know there's a lot of people that just now started watching season 1.
I know.
But James Marsden, Steve was actually a woman. There, I said it.
You said it. I know that we're so conditioned not to spoil the show and not to say all of the different weird things that happen. But I think that we're allowed to talk about it.
Well, wait, let's say tune out now if you don't want to know.
Yes,
earmuffs.
Seriously, if you want the season to remain a surprise. But here's the thing. I feel so dirty.
Do you feel dirty?
Yeah.
I didn't even know what she's going to say.
Oh, no. So basically, James emailed me after season 1 came out, and, you know, people were starting to watch the show, and people seemed to like it. And then he said, what's the odds that Steve could survive a traumatic brain injury and drowning? Because that would be so fun to keep working together. And I was immediately like, well, of course I would love to keep working with James, but his character is dead. And you don't survive, you know, this is a world at least that we try to be a little bit grounded in.
You're so procrastinating saying it. You so don't want to say it. I can see it. Like the wheels turning. You're like, I'm going to find every way that I don't have to say what it is.
So this is the true story. I sat down with Kelly Hutchinson, who's one of the writers of the show, one of my best friends. And I told her that, you know, that James was maybe interested in coming back to the show. And we looked at each other at the exact same time. We were like, twins? And we started, it was so weird. Like we just said it at the same time. We started laughing hysterically because of how dumb that is, you know, because of how ridiculous and what a soap opera trope it is. And like, but the more I thought about it, I was like, he's such a good actor. Let's show an entirely different side of him. And let's see if we could actually ground the fact that Steve has a twin in the reality of the show and like make him a 3-dimensional person with a heart and, you know, with his own sort of shadow side. And, you know, that's what we did. And because James is such a good actor, like, I do think that you absolutely achieved that thing of like a few scenes in, certainly by your second episode, you've forgotten.
Am I dead? Did I die?
I don't think so. I mean, unless we're all dead.
Nobody's dead. No, we're not. Nobody's dead.
Are you all right?
I remember you coming back to me going, hey, you got me thinking about that. And what about this? And I was like, and she pitched me the concept, and I just immediately started laughing at the whole idea, because I think our instincts were all the same, which is like, is that going to work?
You're so good at it, though, that on set, we started to think of you not like Steve at all. That was the weirdest thing, was on set, because I was thinking, oh, is he going to have like a beard, or is there going to be some kind of, you know, magical transformation or some prosthetics? And it's so subtle, but what you do on set made us totally forget that you were Steve.
It was an acting challenge. It was, you know, he's definitely, I just loved the idea that anytime Christina or Jen or Judy would look at Ben, they would be seeing the face of the person that, well, Jen, that murdered. I just, the sort of perverse element of that for the storytelling was exciting to me. And
when we did our kissing the scene, you know, on the beach, and you started to come in, I like literally got like my skin started to crawl because I do that face, not you, but I saw the face that came at me for a moment, but like she had to succumb to that. But I literally, like, as even Christina, not even just Jen, I was like, my breath kind of like, because it's identical, you know, but it's this other spirit that kind of, you gave him this other completely different spirit that she couldn't help but just fall into. Your arms.
I think that Judy thinks they look nothing alike.
Yeah.
Judy doesn't think they look alike at all.
I love
two
that
totally
too.
different people.
Well, they're semi-identical,
like,
you know.
Yeah,
semi-identical,
like,
right?
Guy's got a little bit different nose.
And she's like, he's the exact same person.
Yeah. Steve would never wear a Docker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
You can't put those Dockers and that like little windbreakers and be evil, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
you can't. It's impossible.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You don't seem fine. You fainted. And you look a little upset.
That's just my face. I have an upset face.
No, it's a fine face. It's a good face.
when we were coming up with season 2 in the writer's room and breaking our stories, and we started to focus in on the idea of motherhood and parenthood, but specifically motherhood, and, what it does to people when, their mothers are taken away from them. And it's a pretty subtle, sort of thread in the show. And, it's a thread that you might not even really see if you're, not looking for it. And it's okay if you don't. It's just sort of there because it's, the emotional place that we were writing from. And, it's sort of ranges the gamut from like what you wish you could have in a mother and, what you wouldn't wish upon, your worst enemy in a way. And, both Jen and Judy, obviously have their own sort of mother wounds, if you will, with their own moms. And, we learn more about that in season 2, which was really fun to explore.
Yeah, I liked the fact that we brought in, albeit very briefly, just the part of Jen that she starts to talk about that she didn't get to be the best daughter to her mother before she died, which then reflects in her parenting with her kids. And then you kind of see where she goes, where I have to be there regardless of whether they're acting how I want them to act without giving them any guidance. It's like she finally has to stop and go, okay, you're doing this because you've had no guidance from me. You have had no life lessons from me. And she's also facing the fact that she could lose them and they're going to lose her forever. And that's just like, it's just like the most heart-wrenching thing. And it's all her own guilt and wanting to fix that in the midst of trying to cover up this horrible situation and be selfish and make Judy do things that Judy doesn't want to do, and manipulation and all of this. There's like these 2 kids who are screaming out for someone, and she realizes she's the only someone for them.
What the hell, Charlie?
I didn't think it would run out of gas. I just took it for a spin.
Run out of gas? What the are you even talking about? This was not yours to take.
I thought it was a birthday present. Hey, I'm Parker.
Get in the car, Parker. Both of you, in Judy's car now.
It was really fun to bring in Steve and Ben's mom because she's somebody that we only heard like a tiny bit about in season 1. Judy very sort of quickly and kind of offhandedly refers to Eileen as being what sounds like a super sensitive person who's allergic to leather, I think.
Yeah.
And so it's like that's like what we sort of had to go on to build this character. And it was just really fun to write, yet another interesting dynamic, older woman, who's a mother who like does really love her children, but like, is so wrapped up with trying to kind of suppress the grief that she is trying not to feel for for her missing son, that she's missing the son that's like right in front of her. And, it was just it was an interesting dynamic to work with. And, and the chance obviously to work with Frances Conroy, who plays Eileen, Ben and Steve's mom, was just awesome.
Then you also have Michelle's mom too.
That's right.
Flo.
Yes. There was
and then Deanna's mom thing. And
there's a lot with motherhood
in
the show, and it's all very, sort of purposeful and deliberate, and, and hopefully it'll mean something to people out there.
One of my favorite things that you did for Judy was when Judy says to Deanna or Perez that she lost her mother too. And I think that's so telling about Judy, because she'll just say whatever it is that makes the person next to her possibly connect to her. And I think that's such a Judy moment. And then, then of course the shock of sort of similar mirroring the shock of Steve being still alive. But I don't think that it's that she means to lie. I think she means to connect. And I feel like that's at the heart of who Judy is. So I love that moment that you wrote for her.
Thank you. And you played it beautifully. And yeah. And I think also, I think it's important to note that we almost never have Judy just outwardly lie. The lie always has a hint of truth to her. And when, in that scene, Judy says, I lost my mom too, which is true. You did lose her. It's just that you didn't lose her, to to, I guess hell is probably where she would go. But yeah.
Right. Well, so I just lost her to the law.
Yeah.
And I told on her. So there's that.
Yeah, there's that.
But I also believe that she's never trying to lie. She's always actually trying to tell the truth, which is what gets her in trouble.
I'm, what's that book? Leaning In.
I don't think that's what that book's about. But...
Yeah, haven't read it.
Me neither.
Why are you here?
I lost some people recently. And I didn't want any more time to go by before I saw you again. You're my mother. And I miss you.
I miss you too.
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty telling that the first thing that Jen does after Steve's floating in the pool is call Judy. Even though they've had this situation and, the worlds have come crashing around everyone, the first person she calls is Judy. And that's pretty telling about the unspoken bond that the two of them have in trauma and in trust and in basically in like soulmates in a way. There was no one she was going to call but this person, even though she's angry, even though now it's complicated, even though now she's killed her fiance, the person that she loves, she's now enlisting her to help. And then it gets a little complicated. It gets a little like, you need to help me do this, and it's, I always felt really, we would be doing those scenes where I'm telling Judy to like, don't you say anything and you better help me with this. And that it was like Jen's desperation, but manipulation to make the noise stop, make it all stop. And Judy's the only person that was the only person that's come into her life that helped the noise stop. So I don't know. It's very complicated. And as you see through the season, it just goes like this, but at the heart of it, there's these two women that have this really wonderful ability to forgive one another in the face of unbelievable atrocities.
Yeah, they kind of can't live without each other at this point. They kind of, they don't know how to deal with the things that they're dealing with, and nobody else knows them. So that friendship is deeper than anything, even though it's toxic at times and very, very complicated.
Yeah, I mean, just to jump in there, I would add that, like, I think to me at the core of the show, it's really about sort of the power of this friendship. And though there are about 100 reasons why this friendship should not exist, and that these two women, could easily just like become, adversaries and enemies. But they really love each other. They really love each other because they formed this like initial bond, from a place of hurt and loss and trauma. And, it's just sort of weirdly carried them through, but they at the end of the day, like, it is love, between them, platonic, but it's love. And, I think that, if there's a message there, it's that, hopefully love can transcend, toxicity. And, even the fact that their friendship was built on lies, I think we're always sort of asking and then hopefully answering the question in season 2, can a friendship built on lies, succeed?
Excuse me, ma'am. Can't be doing that stuff here. Unless you're gonna share.
Sure. You have to step into my office.
Yeah, there's a levity in the scenes between Judy and Michelle that I think is something that is so desperately needed in Judy's life. And she comes in like this breath of life that Judy hasn't been able to take for so long. Judy's been so tense, and then here comes this person that just sort of disarms her and makes her feel all the things that she wants to feel in life. So I think that it's such a nice moment to see Judy sort of, I don't know, be out of the muck for a second, but of course that can't last long.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, when Natalie's name came up for this part, I was like so excited because I've always thought she's so incredible, Natalie Morales. And it just was exactly right. And I wanted to cast a queer identifying actress in this part. That was really important to me. I'm a gay woman, and I just always really appreciate it, when the casting reflects the character, and especially when it comes to LGBTQ characters. And she just sort of fit right into our tone. Like she just got it like right away. And you two together were so magical and enjoyable. And it was this sort of breath of fresh air, and obviously Michelle, her character, is meant to sort of represent a possible new beginning for Judy. And it did sort of just feel like, oh my God, there's like this new bright energy. And she just played the part so beautifully. I'm so happy that worked out.
Yeah, she's so easy to work with and such a cool person and so beautiful and lovely. It just, I'm so lucky that she was there. It was fun. It was really fun.
Well, it is very nice to meet you, new friend, Michelle.
Likewise. Judy speaks very, very highly of you.
I know our secrets.
Can I get anybody a drink so that I can begin to drink?
Yes, please.
Yeah, we don't give out all the scripts, ahead of time. That feels like it would be a bit overwhelming, for the cast, especially for Christina and Linda to hear like, here's 5 hours of entertainment. And, we go one at a time. Well, we go two at a time. We shoot 2 episodes at a time. So they get 2 at a time. And, if we're lucky, we're very far ahead in terms of our scripts. But I knew that, the finale was going to end the way it does pretty, early on, maybe about a month into the writer's room. And, obviously there's a real weird kind of full circle, synchronicity or whatever the opposite of synchronicity is, to the way that it ends. And, that was, I just sort of couldn't resist the idea that like everything seems to be okay. Like, sort of taking the inverse of what a normal finale would be, which is that things would just get worse and worse and worse until it was over, and I kept sort of saying to Netflix, what I'm interested in is subverting, that expectation and starting from a really tense place, with Jen and Perez, going to this scene of I feel so weird saying these words out loud because they're spoilers, but, going to the scene of the burial and looking for Steve's body and like, that tension. And, I really wanted to then kind of in a weird way lull the audience into a sense of, oh, okay, like maybe everything's going to be okay. Like, is everything actually going to maybe work out for these 2 women who have terrible luck and make weird, bad choices? And then, the idea was always to sort of make it seem like everything was going to be okay. And then right at the very end, karma's a real equalizer.
Poor Ben. That's what I got to say about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben.
Welcome to the club, Ben.
Exactly.
Welcome to the club.
Exactly.
The emotional roller coaster that you all go through on this is incredible to me.
I just want you to know that no matter what happens, you guys are gonna be okay. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Your mom is coming through the door right now.
Mom.
Oh, God. It's not really.
I do also just want to shout out the fact that, like, yes, there's a lot of crying on the show, but who does some really beautiful crying this season? Mr. James Marsden. I mean, because we made you go to some places this season too, and there are scenes, this season where you have to go from literally like, dancing the Magic Mike dance to, opening up and being vulnerable and bearing your heart, and you are right up there.
I loved that.
I love that. I mean, it's the show is always like a really beautiful challenge. But I think in some ways Steve was easier to play because Steve was sort of straight up, there was less complexity to him. But with Ben, it was like you have this really sweet, kind, awkward, socially, self-deprecating kind of goof. with a really good core and a really good heart underneath it all. And then I remember that scene specifically where we start talking about the regret that Ben has that the last time he saw his brother, it did not end. The conversation didn't end on a positive note. In fact, quite the opposite. And it gets very, he gets very vulnerable in that moment. So that's, as an actor, you read that scene and you're like, this is all the stuff I ever want to play, which is, to kind of go in and be able to play with that kind of range. So there was a lot of that this season, and I had a lot of fun with it.
I'm so sorry.
Why are you sorry? You don't need to be sorry. You're like the only good part of this whole thing.
Going into season 3, I'm not about like what I want my character to experience. I want to experience what Liz is giving me, and I want to take that challenge from her. So for me, I'm pretty hands off, except for the only time I ever brought anything into the show was the mastectomy thing, because I felt like we needed to have a reason for Jen's fury, that it's not about the car accident and it wasn't about the fight they had. It was about this pain of how he made her feel and how she feels about herself, to give her a softness, whatever.
Which, by the way, I'm so glad that you did that. And I'm forever grateful for you for allowing us to tell that story through Jen, because, it did exactly what I think we're hoping for it to do, which is like add that layer of just humanity and complexity, to her, to make her feel like an even more, real and relatable woman.
Thanks, Mama. But other than that, I don't mess with what's in that lady's brain, because it's from her brain and her writers that she's assembled that we've had the show that we have. And I'm also not a big on like, where I'd like my character to go. I don't want to know. I want my character, I want it to like get thrown at me where it's like, it's messy and up and it's not my idea. That's my take on season 3 that we'll be shooting like this if we have to.
Yeah.
It'll be like me going Judy.
Judy's no longer a hugger. I gotta tell you.
I know.
No hugging.
I'm going to give away the secret of season 3 and from here on out. And this is I agree. I won't mess with Liz's
brain and her mind and what she creates. But every season should reveal a new twin brother. Yeah. Season 3, triplets. I'm constantly trying to think of more fun things for me to do.
God sees everything. Sooner or later, he'll bring the truth to light. You just have to have faith.
I'm going places. I love you. I love you too.
You guys want to dance?
Oh my God, do you see that we're in the middle of something here? Read the room, Those girls look like they might kill themselves. Maybe they want to get a nice jig in before they jump off the bridge.
Well, guys, this has been great. It was just really nice to see all of your beautiful faces, and I miss you, and I hope I get to see you and hug you soon. So this has been Entertainment Weekly's Around the Table. We are the cast and creator of Dead to Me, talking about season 2. Just watch it on Netflix, Dead to Me season 2.